Welcome students to the students of standard 8. I welcome you to this class. Students, we have been doing the revision of history chapter number 2 from trade to territory. In the previous class we have seen the arrival of trading companies to India in the 16th century. East India Company arrived in India, and then we see that there was a trade rivalry between different trading companies to establish trade monopoly. Finally we see that there was a war between the French company and English East India Company, which were fought in the regions of Tamil Nadu, known as Carnatic Wars. There were three Carnatic Wars fought, in which the French company was defeated by the army of English East India Company, and French company was confined within the area of Puducherry, and their trade was confined within the area of Puducherry. Whereas we see that this victory over French company made the English East India Company powerful and established trade monopoly. As a result, they started increasing their trade in different parts of India. So we see that first of all they put their steps in West Bengal, British in West Bengal, because West Bengal was one of the richest province of that time, and therefore the East India Company they moved to West Bengal. They wrote a request letter to Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb asking trade concessions. So, because of the request of English East India Company, Mughal Emperor Aurangzeb granted East India Company some trade concession. What was that trade concessions? According to this trade concession, East India Company was given the right to export and import duty without paying export and import goods without paying any custom duty. So that right was granted to East India Company, that they could now export and import goods without paying any custom duty. This gave the huge profit to East India Company, whereas loss to the Bengal government. Why there was a loss? The reason was that there were some company officials, they were engaged in private trade. See, the company's official, those who were engaged in private trade, they also started enjoying this right. They also started exporting, importing goods without paying any custom duty. So you see, this right was only granted to East India Company, but that rights were also used by the company officials engaged in private trades. As a result, when they also started doing this trade without paying any custom duty, it brought loss for the Bengal government. So this led to the conflict between the rulers of Bengal and East India Company. Rulers of Bengal wanted to control East India Company. So we see that the rulers of Bengal, they put two conditions before the East India Company. Bengal was being ruled by Murshid Qali Khan, Sirajuddaulah and Alawardi Khan at this period of time. So the rulers of Bengal, they put two conditions before the East India Company. What were their two conditions? The two conditions was that officials, the company's officials, those who engaged in private trade, they shall pay the custom duty. That was the first condition put by the rulers of Bengal in front of East India Company, that the officials, those who are doing the private trade, they shall pay the custom duty to Bengal. The second thing is that company should not extend its fortification in Bengal. Company should not extend its fortification, they should not increase their area in Bengal. So these were the two conditions put by the rulers of Bengal in front of the East India Company. Okay, but then after the death of Aurangzeb, the East India Company had become much more powerful. After defeating the French, they were much more encouraged and they become powerful, and therefore they they broke these conditions. They broke those conditions, they violated these conditions and started increasing their fortification in Calcutta. Okay, so this led to the Battle of Plassey in 1757, when this company started increasing their fortification in Bengal. This led to the Battle of Plassey which took place in 23rd June 1757. Now, in Battle of Plassey, the when the Sirajuddaulah was the ruler of Bengal. So the Sirajuddaullah's army and East India Company, they fought this Battle of Plassey on 23rd June 1757. As I told you that when East India Company started increasing its fortification in Kolkata, so Sirajuddaulah, he sent his army to Kolkata and captured this fortification and the factories in Kolkata. This alarmed the East India Company, and they wanted to depose Sirajuddaulah from the throne, remove Sirajuddaulah from the throne, and put some puppet rulers on the throne who would listen to the East India Company. So as a result, there was a war between the army of Sirajuddaulah and East India Company, which was fought in 23rd June 1757. And we see that in this Battle of Plassey, East India Company defeated Sirajuddaulah and his army. Now, how this Sirajuddaulah was defeated? Because he had around 30,000 the army soldiers, whereas East India Company with their limited army, they could defeat the Sirajuddaulah easily and assassinate Sirajuddaulah. The problem was that the commander in chief of Sirajuddaullah's army, Mir Jafar, he joined with East India Company. East India Company offered Mir Jafar that if Mir Jafar joins and supports East India Company, they will make Mir Jafar as the next Nawab. So because of that, Mir Jafar and some others important people of Sirajuddaullah's army joined with East India Company. As a result, Sirajuddaulah and his army were defeated by East India Company, and later on Sirajuddaulah was assassinated. So that gave that was the important landmark in the history of India, the East India Company got the control of Bengal. This increased the political power of East India Company, because till now they were a trading company, but now slowly they are becoming the rulers of the parts of India, and that was the first of all was the Bengal, where they got the ownership of Bengal. So after the defeat of Sirajuddaulah, Mir Jafar was made the next Nawab, and when Mir Jafar was made the next Nawab, East India Company, they got the maximum money from Mir Jafar. So Mir Jafar would give them money. So East India Company, they were getting money from this Mir Jafar, who was the puppet ruler in the hands of East India Company. So this gave the much advantage and profit to East India Company when Mir Jafar was giving much money to East India Company. But then when East India Company saw that they are no more getting money, they are no more getting any profit from Mir Jafar, so they thought to depose Mir Jafar and put Mir Qasim as the next ruler. So they removed Mir Jafar from the throne and made Mir Qasim the next ruler. As soon as Mir Qasim became the ruler of Bengal, a puppet ruler, Mir Qasim granted East India Company the right to collect revenue from Bardhaman, Medinapur and Chittagong. So this Mir Qasim granted East India Company to collect revenue from some parts of Bengal, for example, Bardhaman and Medinapur. These were the area where East India Company could directly collect the revenue. So see how a trading company becoming the rulers, becoming the owners, getting the political power of Bengal, and now they could get collect the revenue directly from the people of Bengal. So that was great achievements uh, for East India Company as they were moving toward the territories, trade to territory. After the after few years of ruling of Mir Qasim also wanted to be free from the hands of East India Company. So when he wanted to free from the hands of East India Company, he revolted against East India Company. He rebelled against East India Company, and there were a series of battles between Mir Qasim and East India Company. And in this series of battle, Mir Qasim was defeated by East India Company many times. Finally, Mir Qasim fled to uh, Bihar. Okay, Mir Qasim, and he joined with some of the rulers of Awadh and the Mughal emperor. So Mir Qasim, he joined with Shah Alam II, the Mughal emperor, and uh, and he joined with some other rulers, and he he made a combined attack after joining with Shah Alam II of the Mughal emperor and Sajadullah. So these three rulers together fought against East India Company, and that was the Battle of Buxar in 1764. In 1764, in 22nd October, there was a Battle of Buxar fought between the East India Company and Mir Qasim and Sajadullah and Shah Alam. So these were the three rulers who fought together with East India Company in the Battle of Buxar. But there also we see that the Indian army was defeated. These three rulers were defeated by East India Company, and this also gave East India Company the much advantage, as we see that after the defeat of this Buxar, Shah Alam granted the company Diwani of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. That was the great advantage and achievement for East India Company. After the defeat of the Battle of Buxar, Shah Alam II, the Mughal emperor, he granted company the Diwani rights of Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. What was that Diwani right? According to these Diwani rights, now East India Company can collect the revenue from Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. They can directly collect the revenue from these three provinces, Bengal, Bihar and Orissa. So actually we can say that they became the owner of these areas. So we see that the dual or double government started in Bengal. The actual rulers, the actual owners were the East India Company. They could collect the revenue from the people of Bihar, Bengal and Orissa. They and they enjoyed all the privileges. Okay, they got the income, whereas there were local rulers. Local rulers, they had no money, because all the money, all the revenue went to East India Company. The local rulers, they had a lot of responsibility. They were to maintain the army. The army also went under the control of East India Company, but the maintenance remained in the hands of the local rulers of Bengal. So the local rulers, they had to maintain the army, and they have to look after the people of Bengal and administration, whereas all the money or all the income went to East India Company and no responsibility, whereas the local rulers, they had all the responsibility but no income, no money. So that was the dual government started in Bengal. Under this dual government, people of Bengal suffered a lot, especially in the 70th. In the 70th, we see that there was a famine struck Bengal in 1770. In 1770, 1770 there was a famine in Bengal, where neither the East India Company nor the local rulers of Bengal could help the people of Bengal. As a result, people of Bengal suffered a lot under this. And after 1770 we see that the dual government ended in Bengal. When people started facing a lot of problems, so the dual government ended in Bengal, and direct control of East India Company started in Bengal. So till now, in 17 up to 1772, East India Company had a dual government in Bengal, that they were the actual rulers of Bengal, actual owner of Bengal, whereas local rulers were only had to carry on the responsibility. Finally, we see that the East India Company got the actual ownership. They started direct rules. The company rule started in Bengal. So that's all for today. And in the next class, we will see the expansion of British rule in different parts of India. So that's all for today. Thank you very much.